The day humanity walked away. The chamber was silent, not the comfortable silence of contemplation, but the heavy, suffocating silence that comes before a storm. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood at the podium in the center of the Galactic Council hall, her hands gripping the edges of the lectern. Around her, arranged in a perfect circle like judges at a trial, sat the representatives of 43 species, the Kraliks, with their crystalline bodies that refracted light into rainbows. The Vorath, massive and scaled, their voices like grinding stone. The elegant Severians who moved through the air on gossamer wings, all of them powerful, all of them ancient, all of them certain of their superiority, and all of them were laughing, not openly. They were too cultured for that. But Elena could see it in the way the Kraliks diplomats' facets sparkled with amusement. She could hear it in the dismissive rumble of the Vorath counselor's voice. She could feel it in the condescending tilt of the Severian ambassador's head. Ambassador Vasquez, the council speaker began, his tone dripping with barely concealed contempt. Humanity has brought many interesting concerns to this council over the years. But this? He gestured at the holographic display floating above the chamber floor. Data streamed across it, gravitational anomalies, dark matter readings, energy signatures that defied explanation. At the center of it all was an image that had kept Elena awake for weeks, a vast, writhing darkness at the edge of known space, moving slowly but inevitably toward the galaxy's outer rim. The void creatures, Elena said, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. Our scientists have tracked them for months. They consume everything in their path. Stars, planets. Entire systems simply vanish. They'll reach the outer colonies within 6 months, perhaps less. The Kraliks diplomat made a sound like wind chimes in a hurricane. Laughter. Void creatures. How very imaginative. You're seeing shadows, human, the Vorath counselor rumbled. Your species has always been prone to paranoia. It's why you wage war on your own world, why you see threats where there are none. Elena's jaw tightened. We've provided comprehensive sensor data. Sensor errors, a Severian interrupted smoothly. Your technology, while adequate for your needs, lacks the sophistication to... Our technology, Elena cut in, her voice sharp now, mapped the jump lanes you all use. Our engineers designed the power systems that run half the stations in this sector. Our doctors found the cure for the Crimson Plague that was killing your children. The chamber went quiet again. But this time the silence was different. Dangerous. How dare you? The Kraliks hissed, their voice like shattering glass. You forget your place, human. For 50 years your kind has served this council well, but you are servants. Useful, yes. Necessary, perhaps. But you are not our equals. And you certainly do not lecture us about threats we have survived for millennia, while your species was still discovering fire. Elena felt something cold settle in her chest, something that had been building for years, through countless dismissed warnings and condescending remarks. Through watching human soldiers die defending alien worlds while being mocked for their sacrifice. Through pouring humanity's resources into the galaxy while receiving nothing but scorn in return. She looked around the chamber one last time, at the faces that had never once shown gratitude, at the beings who had taken everything humanity offered and given back only contempt. You're right, she said quietly. The council speaker blinked. Excuse me? You're right. We forgot our place. Elena reached up and removed the silver pin from her collar, the symbol of Earth's ambassadorship to the Galactic Council. She set it gently on the podium. So let me remind you what that place is. She pressed a button on her wrist device. Across the galaxy on 40 different worlds in hundreds of stations and outposts, every human received the same message simultaneously. Recall order Alpha 0. Immediate withdrawal, no exceptions. What are you doing? The Siberian demanded. Elena smiled, but there was no warmth in it. We're going home. You can't we? Elena's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. You said it yourself. We're servants, and servants can quit. She turned and walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the stunned silence. You're making a mistake, the Vorath counselor called after her. The galaxy needs... Elena stopped at the doorway and looked back. The galaxy needs to learn that need goes both ways. When the void comes, and it will come, you'll have to face it without us. Without our ships. Without our doctors. Without our engineers. Without the species you called paranoid and emotional and naive. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Good luck, she said. You're going to need it." Then she was gone. Within hours, human ships began disappearing from their posts. Doctors packed their equipment and boarded transports home. Engineers shut down systems they'd maintained for decades and walked away. The fleets that had defended the outer colonies for half a century turned their bows toward Earth and jumped to faster-than-light speeds. The galaxy watched in confusion, then in disbelief, then in growing horror as the lights began to go out. And in the darkness at the edge of space, something vast and hungry stirred, moving closer with every passing day. End of Part 1. The breaking of the stars 3 months later. The lights on Station Kepler 7 flickered once, twice, then died completely. In the command center, Administrator Velkthun watched his screens go dark one by one. The Kralix's crystalline body, normally shimmering with refracted light, now looked dull in the emergency glow of backup power. Backup power that would last maybe 6 hours. "Someone get me engineering," he snapped. His second in command, a young Severian named Thriss, looked up from her console with wide eyes. "Sir, engineering is offline. The entire lower section lost power 17 minutes ago. Then send a repair team." We don't have one, sir." Velkthun turned slowly to face her. "What do you mean we don't have one? The human engineers left 3 months ago. We haven't been able to replace them. The Vorath techs we hired keep saying the systems are too complex, that they need more training, but nothing." Velkthun's voice cracked like breaking crystal. "This is a Class A station. We have over 50,000 inhabitants. We can't just—" The station shuddered. It was subtle, barely noticeable. But Velkthun had worked in space long enough to know what it meant. Life support was failing. The gravity generators were compensating, drawing emergency power, which meant, "Sir, we're getting reports from across the station. Medical Bay is requesting immediate assistance. They've lost climate control in the cryo-storage units. The medications they're degrading. Contact the Council. Tell them we need—" "I've been trying, sir, for 2 weeks. They say they'll send help, but—" Thriss's wings drooped. "Station Meridian collapsed last month. 14 stations have gone dark. The Council is overwhelmed." Velkthun said nothing. He just stared at the dark screens, remembering the human chief engineer who'd kept this station running for 20 years. What was her name, Chen? He'd never bothered to learn her first name. Never thanked her. Never even acknowledged her when they passed in the corridors. She'd tried to train his people before she left. He remembered that now. She'd spent 3 weeks writing manuals, recording tutorials, begging someone to pay attention. He'd told her they didn't need her documentation, that any competent engineer could figure it out. Now in the darkness, he finally understood the look she'd given him before she left. It wasn't anger. It was pity. The Vorath homeworld, diplomatic quarter counselor Thrakgor stood at the window of his tower, looking out over the capital city. Smoke rose from 3 districts. Not from attacks, there were no enemies at the gates. The smoke came from riots, food riots. The delivery ships from the agricultural worlds hadn't arrived in 6 weeks. The humans had managed the logistics network, calculating routes, managing fuel, coordinating thousands of vessels across hundreds of systems. They'd made it look easy. It wasn't easy. Without them, the network had collapsed in less than a month. Ships got lost, fuel depots ran dry, captains refused to make dangerous runs without the human escort frigates that used to clear the pirate-infested lanes. "How many dead?" Thrakgor asked without turning. His aide's voice was quiet. 3,000 in the southern district alone. "The security forces are overwhelmed. Where are the reinforcements from Vorath 7? Their ships can't jump, Counselor. Something about the navigation computers. The humans used to maintain them, calibrate them. Without that maintenance, the jump calculations keep failing. 3 ships tried to make the crossing last week. Only 1 arrived. The others," the aide trailed off. "They didn't need to say it. Lost in jump space. A slow death, trapped between dimensions, unable to go forward or back." Thrakgor closed his massive eyes. He was 300 years old. He'd fought in the border wars, negotiated the Treaty of Sirius, helped build the Galactic Council from the ashes of the last great conflict. He'd called the humans emotional, reckless, weak. He'd been a fool. "Send a message to Earth," he said quietly. "Counselor, we've sent 47 messages. They don't respond. Then send a 48th. Tell them. Tell them we were wrong. Tell them we need— The lights went out, all of them. Across the entire city. Millions of lights extinguishing in a wave that rolled across the capital like a shadow. In the darkness, Thrakor heard screaming begin. Severian. Council chambers, emergency session, complete. Breakdown of the eastern trade routes. 17. Colonies reporting critical medical shortages. The jump gate network is failing. Faster than we can. Speaker Velshar raised her delicate hand, and the chaos in the chamber quieted. Her wings, once pristine white, looked gray now. She hadn't slept in days. None of them had. What about the military? She asked. General Kurthaval's report was grim. The fleet is at 40% operational capacity. We've lost more ships to maintenance failures than we did in the last war. The humans. He paused, struggling with the words. The humans didn't just crew our ships. They designed the maintenance protocols. They wrote the diagnostic software. They trained our engineers. And they took all of it with them. Can we reverse engineer? Not in time. Kurthval's voice was flat. Not before— He didn't finish. He didn't have to. Everyone in the chamber had seen the reports. The sensor readings from the outer rim that were no longer being dismissed as errors or paranoia. The void was real, and it was 12 systems away. How long? Velshar asked. 4 weeks. Maybe 5. The outer colonies are already evacuating. But without the human logistics network, we can't move people fast enough. We're going to lose millions. The chamber fell silent. Contact Earth again, Velshar said finally. Send every ship we have. Every message we can. Tell them— Her voice cracked. Tell them we're sorry. Tell them we were wrong. Tell them. Beg if you have to. Speaker, one of the counselors said quietly. What if they don't come? Velshar looked at the holographic display showing the void's approach. System after system going dark, stars themselves being consumed. Then we die, she said simply. And we'll deserve it. Earth. Geneva. Terran Command Center Admiral Sarah Kang stood in front of the massive tactical display, watching the galaxy tear itself apart. Behind her, President Chen approached quietly. They're calling again. I know. The Severians are offering full council membership. Equal votes, equal representation, I know. The Vorath are offering territorial concessions, mining rights. Technology sharing, I know. Kang's voice was ice. Chen stood beside her, looking at the display. Sarah, people are dying. I know that too. Kang finally turned to face the president. For 50 years our people died for them. We bled for them. We gave everything we had and they spat in our faces. Now they're calling us saviors, but only because they're scared. Maybe that's enough. Is it? Kang gestured at the display. When this is over, if we save them, how long before they forget again? How long before we're back to being servants? Before they're mocking our warnings and dismissing our sacrifices? Chen was quiet for a long moment. That's not why we do it, though, is it? Kang stared at the president, then back at the display. At the void creeping closer, at the dying stations and crumbling colonies, at the galaxy that had rejected them, now drowning in its own hubris. No, she admitted finally, it's not. She reached for her communicator. All ships, she said, her voice carrying across secure channels to every human vessel in the fleet. This is Admiral Kang, prepare for deployment. We're going back. She paused, looking at the stars. But this time, she continued, we're doing it our way.